Welcome to the Fayoum Oasis.
Far out in the middle of the deserts of Egypt, toward Libya, nestled away, emerges a paradise, the Oasis of Fayoum. For thousands of years, this unique landscape has hosted farmers, potters, nomads, and pharaohs. A one-of-a-kind tradition that has continued up to this very day. We set out as a group deep into the desert to discover the off-the-beaten track, exploring 4,000-year-old temples protected by ferocious beasts with mysterious underground chambers. We see the burials of the men and women who lived in the oasis, where they exported wine across their known world. Visit the valley that was once ocean floor millions of years ago, and see an ancient way of life unchanged for millennia. We have the adventure of a lifetime in one of the most magical and beautiful places in all of Egypt. Come with to discover the wonders of Fayoum. In under 3 hours, setting off from Cairo, we leave the chaos behind. The desert begins to fade, and out of nowhere, the sea-like waters of Fayoum appear. On approach, it feels as if time has stood still here. Farmers near their personal canals, and Riyadh-style villas. What better place for the group to start their writing retreat?
Our writer's retreat in the Oasis. Uh, this is a dream that I have had almost a year in the making. Osset and Karun and I sat at that table over there for almost an entire week and had coffee every morning and enjoyed the sound of the birds and really got into all our feels about being in this beautiful place. And I said, oh, this is just like a place I would love to bring writers here, because I just want to go and sit and write in all this beauty. And so here you are. What is the food of your life? What is the food of your life? And to simply write on it. Don't stop to try to be poetic or interesting. Just keep your hand moving and say whatever comes out.
All right, so Normandy, I'm not very good at expressing my feelings. I don't really like to share until something's finished or perfect. So how do I just start writing? I mean...
Okay, you put your pen on the paper.
Okay.
And a lot of times we get stuck because we don't know what to say.
Like self-conscious.
And yes, when you're self-conscious. So you can just write the word nothing, nothing, nothing until something comes out.
Yeah.
Or you could repeat a line like the food of my life, the food, the food, the food of my life, and then something else will come out.
Okay.
Sometimes you can make it into a question, like, what is the food of my life? And sometimes that's easier to answer.
Okay.
Instead of making it a statement.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And
do we have to share?
No, you do not have to share.
Okay.
You do not have to share. This is for you.
Okay. I'll
Right.
try.
Normandy often encourages self-exploration, something that can be quite personal. So, we won't be hearing what the group shares.
Everything on this journey is destined, though unplanned. What you call my madness is the food of my life. The silvered mesh between the worlds doesn't really exist for me. I never go over. It is easy. I am already there. It is easy like parting a sheen of water, an animal floating in arcs of color. How familiar they are, these inner musics, these currents of desire. It is the other part that is difficult, the coming back, the not being able to tell.
For me, I had a very different idea of a spiritual group. I don't know why. I expected a boring and clouded set of people in a constant meditative state. But boy, was I wrong. Surrounded by all of this natural beauty, I found these people more real and grounded than I expected. A walk through the village takes us to our villa for the next few days. The roughly bricked walls and homes with livestock dotted in their special paddocks, and the vistas from the balcony transports one back in time. Almost all worries of the modern world evaporate away, like the red sun into the starry night.
So, we have rented a private villa here in the Fayoum, but being the gentleman that I am, we don't have enough bedrooms, so I've decided, well, that I'm going to sleep on the couch. I mean, a few nights on a couch is not going to kill me, I suppose. So, yeah, this is my bedroom slash everybody else's living room. So, yeah, that's not that bad. I think it's lovely. I can open the door. We have a mosquito net, and I can just listen to the sounds of the Fayoum at night. It's lovely. So, if you don't mind, before we get a big day tomorrow of exploring the temples, I'm going to say goodnight. Good night.
So today we are going to visit Madi city. We will spend like a couple of hours there, and we will finish visiting the place and come back into spend the rest of the day on our private villa.
There are several ancient Egyptian temples and settlements in Fayoum, some with very illustrious histories. Isolated out in the desert is the stunning Medinet Madi, meaning city of the past.
Around Medinet Madi, around the temple here dedicated to Sobek and Renutet, you'll see on the top of all of the sand dunes, it's like topped with, it looks like little black caps. But when you look closely, it's actually pottery shards. We have pottery shards like this, and this was brought here for thousands of years. People came here, brought offerings of wine and grain, and they left them here to appease the goddesses and the gods that were worshipped at the temple. So when we look at all of this, just think about the thousands of people that came here wanting to make a connection to the temple and leaving these maybe to make their life a little better.
Because the temple and city is so rural, it was supported by the priests and pilgrims coming to make offerings to the gods. The pilgrimage would have led them down the stairs, being greeted by ferocious guardians, the avenue of lion sphinxes. If we venture to the museum in Cairo, more of Medinet Madi's past can be revealed. For you see, pharaohs spanning thousands of years would have housed a group of special women here, women whose role was to pleasure the pharaoh, the harem of the kings. Specially selected women, sometimes handed down from mother to daughter, lived out in Fayoum. These women were always unique and beautiful. They were treated well by the pharaoh, who expected certain entertainment back as gratitude. One pharaoh in particular is well documented for his visits to the harem in Fayoum. This pharaoh built several temples in Fayoum, where he planned to further cultivate the oasis. Pharaoh Amenemhat III. He placed several statues of himself at these sacred sites. He even built a pyramid in Fayoum, capped with an exquisite pyramidion made from meteoric stone. These strange-looking sphinxes were made for Amenemhat and placed in Fayoum. Later, adapted for several kings, Ramses, Merenptah, and Susanes. Amenemhat inherited a peaceful Egypt after his father had conquered Nubia. With a full beard, thick wig, and interesting features, this Fayoum statue of Amenemhat shows the pharaoh as a high priest. He developed the Fayoum more than any predecessor, creating large canals to nourish the outer oasis. Amenemhat's successor and son died very young, leaving Amenemhat's daughter, Sobek Neferu, to become a female pharaoh 350 years before the incomparable Hatshepsut. Strolling down the Sphinx Avenue is truly a journey through time, passing numerous lion sphinxes dating from 1800 BC to 200 AD, from Egyptian to Greek and Roman. Beyond the first set of lions, you enter a Ptolemaic period temple from 300 BC, with its many columns and a central altar dedicated to the goddess Isis. Once closed up by limestone bricks, however, this site was not for Isis.
This temple is dedicated to Renutet, and she is a snake goddess. Most goddesses are snakes. In the hieroglyphs, Isis is drawn as a snake, Nephthys is drawn as a snake, Mut is drawn as a snake, and so is Renutet. And in their snake forms, they are protectors. Thus, we have so many lions as part of this brigade as we go through to the sanctuary of the temple. There's so many lions and serpents and crocodiles, and these are not boogie things. They're meant to be inspiring, protecting, building up one's energy.
Further down the avenue, you enter a small secondary temple in undecorated Old Kingdom style, possibly repurposed as a storage for offerings from pilgrims. Further, two recumbent lions guard the entrance to the pylon of the main temple. Upon entering, the god of writing and wisdom, Thoth, is shown. The inner Middle Kingdom relief shows the goddess of the site, Renutet, suckling a child on her lap, protected by the vulture neckbit with a pharaoh offering to them. Before continuing, two statues of a queen wearing a Greek dress flank the entrance. She is Ptolemaic queen Arsinoe, who had a large following here after her death. Although one can spend hours exploring outside, refuge from the sun can be found inside the snake Renutet and Sobek Crocodile Temple.
This is the temple here at Medinet Madi, which is dedicated to Renutet and Sobek. What's interesting is, on the columns, we have the name of Amunimhat III, the father of Sobek Neferu. We have a little cartouche of Sobek Neferu over here, which I'll show to you in a second. But this temple has such a vast history, started in the 12th dynasty by Sobek Neferu and her father. But we have a scene inside here of Ramses II. We see Ramses II in the middle, with the god Sobek on the side, the god Anubis on the other side, and they're pouring out these beautiful ankh shapes, which are symbolic for water, holy water, purification water. But what's even more interesting is, drawn onto Ramses, we can see another pharaoh has been drawn in black charcoal, showing building a foundation stone, so extending this temple. This temple has such a huge history. We have Thutmose and Hatshepsut, and this went on all the way into the Roman period. It is absolutely incredible.
The expansion of the temple from various kings was to appease Renutet for a bountiful harvest, and Sobek for the continuation of flowing water. Aset takes a moment to read texts from the temple to the group.
As many wish to have offspring of children praying to you, they acquire the blessing of children. Persuading the golden Nile, you lead down an appropriate time upon the land of Egypt as blessing for men.
These texts are originally from the reign of Amunimhat. He's shown throughout the small temple, offering and receiving from the two patron gods of Fayoum. While offering, Amunimhat in turn receives 3 chained ankhs from the crocodile-headed god Sobek. At the Cairo Museum, several pristine stela and ostraca from Medinet Madi can be found, showing the protector of the Nile, Sobek. A Horus priest from Saqqara during the 19th dynasty, named Nacht, even made offerings to Renutet, the slender, elegant goddess with her cobra appearance stands behind the patron god of Saqqara, Ptah, ensuring the land shall be fruitful. Back at Medinet Madi, carved into the papyrus-styled columns in one of her many forms, Renutet welcomes the visitor as a full cobra.
So here we see the goddess Renutet. She's holding the Ankh, a symbol of life. And then she's got the serpent head. So sometimes you'll see a human body with a cow head, a ram head, a hawk head. This is her with her serpent head.
Inside, her name appears very clearly, starting from above, from the mouth for R, the 2 water signs for N, the quail U, and 2 loaves of bread for the double T sound, Renutet. The niche in the sanctuary once housed a triad statue of Amunimhat and his son, with Renutet in the center. Many scenes in the sanctum show almost life-sized images of Amunimhat before Sobek and Renutet. With his son behind, his son wears a cobra nemes, meaning he was co-regent at the time. 350 years later, female pharaoh Hatshepsut added her mark here in one of the niches, followed by her successor Thutmose III. However, before Hatshepsut, the daughter of Amunimhat became pharaoh and added her mark here in the temple of her namesake.
Just around the corner, hidden away, badly damaged from rain and from sand. If I climb up here, we have the cartouche of the possible first ever female pharaoh, Sobek Neferu. We see the 3 Nefers and the Sobek symbol at the bottom. Sobek Neferu, the great female pharaoh that ruled on behalf of her younger brother. As a pharaoh, she was named a pharaoh. This is one of the only remnants that we have of this obscure queen.
When we leave the temple and venture off, on the side streets along the Avenue of Sphinxes is where the juicy history lies. Clusters of mud brick houses that belonged to priests, farmers, and workmen line the avenue on either side. The closer you lived to the temple, the more important you were. And the most important had a sphinx protecting the stairs up to their homes. Because this area was inhabited for over 4,000 years, many different styles of houses and protective sphinxes are found. From human-headed lions with Roman attributes to winged griffins. Some Greek inscriptions here even mention Cleopatra sending taxes to the temple. This is thousands of years of real life, so well preserved, from pharaohs to Christians, all once called this place home.
I'm often asked what it is about Egypt that I love so much. And when I'm there walking through the ancient temples, seeing the writing and murals on the walls, the magic of that time and place reaches across time and space and pulls me in. And it's this magic that I want to share with others so they can feel it. And it can help them to feel more connected to the magic that's possible in their life.
I hope that they feel joy, that they feel protection, that they feel abundance, that they understand that their lives are being sculpted and changing. Of course, the serpent goddess is a goddess of change. Because she drops her skin and she grows a new one, and so we understand that that's what we're doing all the time. We're always changing, we're always different. And yet, the snake, as it drops its skin, becomes a bigger snake the next time around. So it grows by shedding. So that's one of the mysteries of abundance, is to give away of yourself to receive a greater self.
A reason Renutet was the protector of the harvest was that cobras eat rats that would destroy the grain and crops. Within the priests' homes, thousands of ostraca texts were discovered. Written in Greek and Demotic, they reveal daily life, personal horoscopes, school registers, and corruption. A Ptolemaic priest named Phatres wrote several letters exposing how the temple was misusing offerings and that the temple college was showing signs of cult-related misconduct. A smaller building, protected by Isis, was where 2 large votive mummified crocodiles were stored, slotted into these shrines as a way to keep Sobek's power contained. Around them, young crocodiles were incubated and reared, with over 30 crocodile eggs found around this structure. Some texts even reveal that priests were selling inferior mummified crocodiles to pilgrims.
I've been told that in here is a high official's home, and it's meant to be pretty spectacular. So, oh my God. Wow. The frescoes are just, oh my God. It's so beautiful. Roman period frescoes. The history here is just so vast. You can see here the high official's house, pretty much like you get in a Roman house, Pompeii, wherever else, marked by these huge ornate columns that were carved to show the status of the person.
Here I am in nowhere. Where's the middle?
Oh my God, look at that.
What is that?
It's a sandstorm. Oh, wow.
Luckily, back at our oasis village, surrounded by towering date palms, with the sound of water canals rushing by, the worries of the dry desert are left behind.
We're doing something now. It's very dangerous. For me, that is. We're going shopping.
Our group takes some time to admire the local craft of beautiful handmade ceramics.
They're also pretty. It's hard to pick.
That's cute.
The arrival of ceramics in Tunis village has a very particular history. Although the ancient Egyptians were famous for pottery, a Swiss woman would arrive here and revitalize the craft of Tunis. She even has the main street named after her, Evelyn Porrette. She visited Fayoum in the 60s with her father. Later, in the 80s, she moved here, marrying famous Egyptian composer Sayed Hagab. Evelyn had a love unlike any other for Fayoum, starting a pottery school in Tunis to teach the people how to make a living from pottery, named the Patar Association. She revived the artistic crafts in Fayoum and helped many families start their businesses and buy homes. As we passed by a former student of Evelyn, he invited us to show us his workshop at the back of his family home. He kindly walked us through the process, the glazing and firing of his creations at 1,200 degrees.
Yes, you can really feel the heat.
The Fayoum Oasis has a way of life unchanged for thousands of years. This area, with its fertile soil, created a unique landscape for isolated locals to carve out a profitable living. Back in Cairo, at the Egyptian Museum, are some of the most precious treasures, some more exquisite than those of a pharaoh. Yet these people were not royals. They were humble farmers. Inlaid with precious stones, these types of death masks placed over the mummy indicates a wealthy upper-class person. Dating from the Ptolemaic period, around 200 BC, the mask incorporates Greek and Egyptian traditions, with the form being Egyptian, yet a bowl-cut hairstyle presses through the headcloth. These golden masks were certainly of the owner of a large farm or vineyard, who were self-made, wealthy exporters. Both men and women of upper crusts had these types of funerary objects covered in gold. A more affordable burial practice comes in the form of these very realistic lime plaster masks. They covered the deceased's face and replicated his features, some of various styles, as unique as the owner. But we get the idea that most of the men sported full beards. Although Fayoum was inhabited by many Greeks and later Romans, the religion and culture of the Egyptians was unchanged, rather influencing the newcomers. The entire tomb contents now in the Neues Museum in Berlin come from a Fayoum lady named Aline. Aline's tomb is one of few that we know the provenance of, because many mummies are no longer intact due to museums around the world wanting Fayoum artifacts. Discovered in 1829 in Hawara, Fayoum, Aline's tomb contained her mummy, that of her husband, and 3 children, and dates from the reign of Roman Emperor Hadrian. Back in Cairo, a Fayoum portrait controversially known as the Two Brothers shows a different form of burial practice. A round wooden panel was split in 2 halves, showing the 2 men who were buried together. But why the split in a death mask? And why paint them together on one piece intended for separate masks? The brothers' burial helped solve the mystery of the Fayoum mummy portraits. Not all funerary objects were made just to enjoy in the next life, not just to accompany the deceased. This faceless mummy once contained a mummy portrait. Although beautifully wrapped, some, like this wealthy woman, had her mummy gilded entirely in gold, with inlaid precious gemstones, and slotted in was her lifelike mummy portrait. The 2 Fayoum brothers' portraits confirmed that these artworks were made during life and hung up in the home, similar to family portraits we put up today, then taken off the wall once you died to accompany your body. Many museums around the world were in a frenzy for Fayoum portraits in the 1800s. I've come to the Altes Museum in Berlin to see some of the best preserved of these Fayoum portraits. These treasures from the Oasis allow us to see the most lifelike depictions of the ancient people of Egypt. Even though the Greeks had moved to the Fayoum, a DNA study in 2016 between Ptolemaic Fayoum and the native Egyptians were virtually the same and had a 1% impact on the genetics of the Egyptian population.
These are mummy portraits from the Fayoum region in Egypt. During the Roman period, the people living out in the Oasis at Fayoum adapted the mummification customs, and they had these portraits painted of themselves, which they would hang in their homes. And once they died, they would be taken down and placed on top of their mummified body. So these are probably some of the most realistic ancient Egyptian death masks that we can actually look at. And they range from children, old people, to even nobles.
These portraits show a great leap in technique, painted on wood with pigmented wax, the skill to create one of these from 100 BC. This thin, golden headband was found on the mummy of this wine merchant. The wreath is visible on his own death mask, as well as the brooch to attach his toga. The people of Fayoum were the most revered winemakers in their known world and exported their grape and date wine for a tidy sum.
Take a glass.
Whoa.
I love it that they're almost all different.
They're all different. So,
That's even better.
What?
choose a glass, choose a glass. It says everything about your personality.
Because we're all different.
The main thing that exported from Fayoum was wine. We used to do date wine and red wine. So I just thought it would be nice to just remember those people who lived around 2,300 years ago in this region that we're in now. Nothing much has changed. So to remember the winemakers of Fayoum, let's have a little bit of red Egyptian wine and have a little toast to them. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
And may they join us.
Yes, they'll be here.
The spirits of those that...
They're watching us. So we'll just have a little. Just a little toast to.
Just don't waste it.
Okay. Just
ahead,
to,
wait,
you
go
know, we
ahead,
just got to
Liz.
remember these
There you go,
Egyptians.
thank
There we
you.
go. Normandy.
Thank you.
Okay. Elaine. Ashley. Jasmine. And Curtis.
Last but not least.
To the Fayoum winemakers from the past.
Winemakers from the past.
Cheers, and to all of you.
And to all of us.
In the eyes, in the eyes. In
Cheers.
the eyes, in the eyes.
Cheers.
Let's do it in the eyes. In the eyes. Cheers. 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 Did I get you?
I don't know.
Cheers. Okay. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Wow, that's going to keep.
Okay.
We need the fan.
What I want us to do is to take a line from Hafiz that runs in your head when you hear this, and then just keep riffing on it for yourself. A bow rises each night and shoots your soul into God. Behold the beautiful one from the vantage point of love. He is conducting the affairs of the whole universe.
An early morning start to the day to begin our desert safari deep into the expanse of the desert.
There goes the chair. Yep.
The freezing morning air preserves the spirits of the ancients. It is so quiet, they could almost speak to you across the divides. Just before the light breaks through the frozen horizon, we take a moment to connect to this mystical place. Then, suddenly, the morning is made even more special by the red, rising sun illuminating this magical place. We are the only people out here for miles, at the edge of a cliff, looking over the glistening lake. Is one of the most peaceful moments you could ever experience.
Pour yourself out like a fountain. Flow into the knowledge that what you are seeking finishes often at the start and with ending begins. Every happiness is the child of a separation it did not think it could survive. And Daphne, becoming a laurel, dares you to become wind.
Let's go.
We arrive at the site that is well known for ancient Coptic Christians coming to visit, believed to have healing properties in the water, now simply known as the Magic Lake. We could not be in a more magical spot as the men set up for breakfast. And it appears our jackal friend from Sunrise has followed us up here.
And this is the other yellow. We call it rumi. It is really tasty. You will like it.
Time for a traditional Egyptian-style breakfast.
This is fatir.
Yeah.
It's the best stuff in Egypt.
Okay.
And so it's this dough, they bake it, they put lots of butter in between and layers. You can see all the layers.
Yeah.
You tear it apart and you eat it with molasses
Ooh.
mixed with tahini. So here's just straight
Okay, I'm
molasses.
gonna go for the molasses.
Okay. I think I use fatir just so that I can eat more molasses and tahini.
It's so good, right?
Mind your steps, guys.
Realization just hit me.
I know, come in very, just stay in the
Ready?
middle, stay in the middle. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
Ooh, look how emerald green the water is,
Beautiful.
isn't it?
Yeah. Against the gold of the sand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't this just beautiful, everyone?
Yeah.
But enough relaxing. It's time to hit the road. Or actually, hit the sand dunes.
Alright, hold on.
We ready? But to what?
The group of the cheeky car.
Yeah. some bumps coming up here.
Oh, goody.
I lost my hat.
I think I peed myself.
After that thrilling adventure, we reach our next stop, Wadi al-Hitan, the Valley of the Whales. This site is the most important in the world for examples of millions of years of natural development. Once totally under the sea, many fossils of now extinct species were discovered, including the oldest examples of whales, some such as the Zeglodonts, a land-going whale that was forced to adapt to the water due to climate change 55 million years ago. Even giant leopards and crocodile fossils showing that crocs have not changed in all this time. Because it was under the sea, the currents have formed beautiful landscapes.
We're in the Valley of the Whales, and I've been told we're going to go and see some of the oldest fossils that have ever been found here in Egypt. 55 million years or something like that of whales. I just can't wait. It's going to be incredible.
This area is still home to many mammals, like jackals, dorca gazelles, monkeys, and even leopards have been reported. Yet the main attractions are the giant in situ fossils.
The Valley of the Whales and the deserts in general are places that make me feel like I'm finally in a place that's big enough to hold my spirit as I expand. So much of the time in everyday life and responsibilities, we tend to live small, or at least some confined way that keeps the status quo even if it's not comfortable. But here under the big sky, where the sun shines and the wind blows across the miles and miles of sand, it's a place where you can breathe. And you can breathe and unfold and find a whole new you that feels whole. The last time I entered into the desert, I had tears well up unexpectedly. It was like my soul was so grateful to be given the gift of this wide open space. And that's why I bring my groups here too, so they can breathe and expand and be filled with gratitude, with the gift of spaces to simply just be.
This place is so huge. Look how big this whale is. It's one of my favorite places on Earth.
Here we find the fossil remains from 40 million years ago of sharks, swordfish, and stingrays. When the sea dried up, the mammals of the area, like leopards, lived in the naturally eroded caves. And only a few thousand years ago, people inhabited this area. One hill, bearing a resemblance to Jebel Barkal of Sudan, shows signs of pre-dynastic glyphs carved onto the cliff face. Makes you wonder what people will say of us in thousands of years' time. Our final ancient Egyptian site in the Oasis, located just 5 kilometers out of Tunis village. It is known as the Palace of Karun.
A temple built in the 12th dynasty by Amunimhat and continued by his daughter, the female pharaoh from the 12th dynasty, Sobek Neferu.
Almost nothing remains of this 12th dynasty temple. The new temple was built over the foundations of the old temple in 300 BC. and only one god is depicted here.
Here at this temple of Sobek, Sobek is a crocodile god known in the Fayoum area. He was a god of war and protection for the pharaoh, and he was mentioned as early as the pyramid text, which we find in the 5th dynasty pyramids of Unas out at Saqqara. So he then later became part of the coffin texts as well, and later the Book of the Dead.
The temple may seem small from outside, but inside it is enormous and hides many nooks and crannies. Each massive doorway is topped with 32 rearing stone cobras above a winged sun disk. Passing through the entrance hall, the beige walls are contrasted with the soot-blackened ceilings, damaged in more modern times when families lived in here. To the sides are several small chambers leading off to the side and that turn around corners. While looking for clues, be aware of the bats who have made this their home. We are the intruders. Exploring down the labyrinth of hallways, we can see that these walls were once decorated. The limestone has been chipped at repeatedly by ancient Christian visitors to erase the sacred texts. Much of this temple is a mystery, with several pits dug meters down. What was their purpose? Water lines lead us to suspect that they were pools that probably contained crocodiles, connecting Sobek, the energy of the crocodile, to this place. As one crosses over the walkway, intact, you transport your imagination back to the priests coming here to the inner sanctum. A bridge over a 2-floor-deep pit crosses over to the 3 niches that contain 3 statues of Sobek. Crossing the pit bridge is unique and connected you with meeting Sobek, who lurked in the waters under your feet. The unlucky chosen priest was tasked with going down to give offerings to the temple crocodile. At the entrance are 2 letterbox-type slits where 2 votive baby crocodile mummies were slotted into. But the temple raises more questions than answers.
We're not actually sure why they even decided to build a temple to Sobek out here in this arid landscape with only the Fayoum Oasis to provide water. Was it to bring healing and protection to this area, yet this area is not a water area? Or was it to invoke the water god, Sobek, the god of the Nile, to direct the Nile to come and make this land fertile?
At the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, vivid examples of crocodile worship are on display. Known as the Crocodile Papyrus, this scene from the Book of the Dead shows a priestess bowing down before a crocodile in the river. Ironic, since the sweet smell of papyrus repels crocodiles. The Greeks called this area Crocodiliopolis, the place of the crocodiles. The priests that worshipped crocodiles in Fayoum at one time faced uproar from locals. In the late period around 50 BC, the priests had raised their power once again and increased their taxes. It was here at Karun that some of this drama played out. Going up the many flights of stairs, we enter an area once reserved only for priests and royals.
And when you come onto the roof of this temple, it's one of the very few temples where the roof is still fully intact. When you walk out here, you can see the settlements around, the Roman baths that were built, the houses where the priests and the farmers from the area that fed this temple would have lived. And I can just imagine when there was the strike happening in the Roman times, well, not exactly Roman, just before Cleopatra died, people coming here complaining to the temple, "Where's our grain?" And the priest, who would have been too scared to go downstairs because he might have been taken out, would have stood up here, spoken to the people, "Your grain is on the way, we're waiting for the taxes, you haven't worshipped the gods justly," making all of these assumptions to the people why they were not receiving their food. Because after all, this temple is dedicated to Sobek. Sobek is the god of the Nile. We're in an oasis in the middle of the desert. Water is very scarce up here.
After the death of Cleopatra in 30 BC, Egypt was under Roman rule. Karun became a hotspot for Romans posing as Egyptians. From this vantage point of the temple roof, we can see the layout foundations for many Roman settlements. Many Roman-style houses were built between the Egyptian ones. The Romans renamed this town Dionysius, after the Greco-Roman god of wine, since much of the wine from ancient Egypt came from right here. The vast Roman town saw many new innovations, including Roman baths. Much of Dionysius still lays untouched beneath the sand. In a room that was once covered, now bathed in sunlight, is the only inscription still remaining. With his human body wearing a feathered skirt, holding a was scepter, appearing with a crocodile head, is Sobek, near a slit for sunlight, connecting him to Ra. Next to him is an image of what would appear to be a Ptolemaic pharaoh. The upper part of the temple is dotted with strange chambers that no one knows the exact functions of. Were these housing for priests, treasury or storage rooms, or was this where they would mummify the sacred temple crocodiles? One chamber even has a drainage canal with a hole cut in the middle. Were the priests bathed here, or baby crocodiles raised here? All we know is that water could come through the gutter into the chamber and down to the mysterious caverns below.
Isn't this temple something wonderful?
Yeah.
Karun, like much of Fayoum, still holds many ancient secrets.
This area in the Fayoum was set up by Amenemhat III actually to house his harem. So the harem women would all live here, and it became a big settlement. And at one point, there were even two temples here. Both started in the 12th dynasty. So there's such a rich history in the Fayoum, and it's a place that is overlooked so much by people. We have the wine merchants that were here later on. We have the Greco-Roman period. We even have 12th dynasty people coming here and settling in the middle of the desert. Well, in the oasis, if you prefer. But when you come here, you can just feel the history